Hello. I'm so eager to get back to this story because it was one of my favorites as a young woman, young girl, teenager. And when I picked it back up and started reading again, I've really enjoyed it. I wanted to get back, but you know how life is. It's busy, it's hectic, and it's not always easy to get online so quickly. So thank you for your patience with me. And we are on chapter 4. I am in the Everyman's Library version. It's a hardback version. So that is page 11 for me. So let's read. Hey, Caleb. I haven't read The Alchemist. I mean, I've read it for myself, but I haven't read it on here. And I said I was going to, and then I got sidetracked with Victober. Well, it took me a lot longer to finish In Time with the Butterflies. And then I got into Victober, which is reading in October, reading Victorian literature. So I want to get to The Alchemist. So have you read it? Are you looking forward to it? Are you reading it for school? So let's see what's happening in chapter 4. When Jane and Elizabeth were alone, the former, who had been cautious in her praise of Mr. Bingley before, expressed to her sister how very much she admired him. So I always get confused with the former and the latter. That has always been something that gets me confused. So as I understand it contextually, the former is the first, the latter is the last. So Jane was the first person mentioned. So Jane is talking about her praise of Mr. Bingley. He's just what a young man ought to be, said she, sensible, good-humored, lively, and I never saw such happy manners. So much ease, with such perfect, good breeding. So what's your list of a really attractive male, if you are drawn to males, or whatever your preference is, but she's describing him as what every young man ought to be. Sensible, good-humored, lively, good manners, and good breeding. It's really worth reading, Caleb, and it's an easy read. I think you'll enjoy it. He's also handsome, replied Elizabeth, which a young man ought likewise to be, if he possibly can. His character is thereby complete. I was very much flattered by his asking me to dance a second time. I did not expect such a compliment. Did you not? I did for you. But that's one great difference between us. Compliments always take you by surprise, and me never. What could be more natural than him asking you again? He could not help seeing that you were about 5 times as pretty as any other woman in the room. No thanks to his gallantry for that. Gallantry like his gentlemanliness, his manners. Well, he certainly is very agreeable, and I give you leave to like him. I give you permission to like him. You have liked many a stupider person. Hi, Sohail Singh. Thank you for reading Their Eyes Were Watching God. Had to read it for a college class. That seems more appropriate than high school. I think it's a hard read for high school. And I'm glad that they helped. That makes me really happy. Hi, Siddharth. Nicole, hello to you. I think you're new to me, Nicole. Have we chatted before? Siddharth, our Discord is going like crazy. So make sure we put the invite and talk it up again. There, you're already on it, Siddharth. And you know what, Siddharth? I learned I can do something with you. I can add you as a moderator. I don't know what that means, but now you can, I think you can add the quote in that you want to. So you've been added as a moderator, Siddharth. Caleb, I read White Fang personally as a young person. Again, I haven't read it on my channel. Like it. I do the short story. If you look at my short stories, it's called, it's about being in Alaska and to build a fire. It's very similar. If you like White Fang, it's a good short version of it. Okay, yeah, I can see that now you're a moderator. Between him and Darcy, no, I skipped way too much. Dear Lizzie, you are a good deal too apt, to like people in general. You never see a fault in anybody. This is Lizzie talking to Jane. All the world are good and agreeable in your eyes. I never heard you speak ill of a human being in my life. I would wish not to be hasty in censoring anyone, like shutting them down. But I always speak what I think. I know you do. And it is that which makes the wonder, with your good sense, to be so honestly blind to the follies and nonsense of others. Affection of candor is common enough. One meets it everywhere. But to be candid without ostentation or design, to take the good of everybody's character and make it still better, and say nothing of the bad, belongs to you alone. And so you like this man's sister too. And you like this man's sister too, don't you? Their manners are not equal to his. Certainly not at first, but they're very pleasing women when you converse with them. Miss Bingley is too live with her brother and keep his house. Oh, is to live, sorry, to live with her brother and to keep his house. So his sister's going to live with them. And I'm mistaken if we shall not find a very charming neighbor in her. Certainly not at first, but they're very pleasing women when you, Elizabeth in silence, but was not convinced their behavior at the assembly had not been calculated to please in general. She doesn't trust them to be, and with more quickness of observation and less pliancy of temper than her sister, and with the judgment too unassailed by any attention to herself, she was very little disposed to approve them. They were in fact very fine ladies, not deficient in good humor when they were pleased, nor in the power of being agreeable where they chose it, but proud and conceited. They were rather handsome, had been educated in one of the first private seminaries in town, had a fortune of £20,000, were in the habit of spending more than they ought, and have associated with people of rank, and were therefore in every respect entitled to think well of themselves and meanly of others. They were of a respectable family in the north of England, a circumstance more deeply impressed on their memories than their brother's fortune, and their own had been acquired by trade. Let's see what Siddharth's saying. When did I read it? When did I read White Fang, or when did I read To Build a Fire? White Fang, when I was a child. To Build a Fire is on my short story playlist. That's a Discord link. Come join us. I try and chat in. I'm not as good as I could be, but if you want to send a message or communicate with other members that are regular followers, that's where we chat. I heard you mention it during the Crucible audiobook, so just wondering. Oh, Siddharth, you were just wondering, Siddharth, what did you ask me about White Fang? Boobereem, I'm glad you're here. So I'm a little bit lost on, hey, Franklin Felipe Fernandez. I have had a good day. I went to a site visit today, looked at one of the schools that I supervise, and we're worried about another hurricane, Delta. We've already made the whole loop of the alphabet. Now we're back to Delta. Louisiana, if you're a praying person or a believing person, send good wishes to Lake Charles. It's a small town. I'm not small, but a city east of me. And it's, is it east of me or west of me? I'm never sure. No, it's to the west of me. It's west of me. And they just got annihilated in the Laura, I think it was. I don't know. I've lost track, Sally or Laura. And now they have another one. We have another one coming at us due here Thursday or Friday. Thank you. I love recommendations. Caleb, would you put that in the comments when I post this? Because I can't come back to these comments and I want to write that down a long way gone. Thanks, Caleb. I appreciate it. Mr. Bingley inherited property to the amount of nearly £100,000. Pounds is the British amount of money, and they are stronger than the American dollar. There are websites you can find that will convert like £1,000. What is £1,000 worth today? And then it's going to give you the value in British pound sterling. And then you have to convert that, and Siri will do it for you, to American dollar if you want to get a sense of how much money that is. But it's a lot of money in the time. Who had intended to purchase an estate, but did not live to do it. Mr. Bingley intended it likewise, and sometimes made choice of his county, but as he was now provided with a good house and the liberty of a manor, it was doubtful to many of those who best knew the easiness of his temper, whether he might not spend the remainder of his days at Netherfield, and leave the next generation to purchase. His sisters were very anxious for his having an estate of his own, But though he was now established only as a tenant, Miss Bingley was by no means unwilling to preside at his table, nor was Mrs. Hurst, who had married a man of more fashion than fortune, less disposed to consider his house as her home when it suited her. She stays around all the time. She overstays, it kind of implies. Mr. Bingley had not been of age 2 years when he was tempted by an accidental recommendation to look at Netherfield House. So of age means 21. So it was like he was 23 when he started looking at Netherfield. He did look at it and into it for half an hour, was pleased with the situation and the principal rooms, satisfied with what the owner said in its praise, and took it immediately. Between him and Darcy, there was a very steady friendship, in spite of a great opposition of character. So they were opposite characters, but great friends. Bingley was endeared to Darcy by the easiness, openness, ductility of his temper, though no disposition could offer a greater contrast to his own, and though with his own he never appeared dissatisfied. On the strength of Darcy's regard, Bingley had the firmest reliance, and of his judgment the highest opinion. In understanding, Darcy was the superior, so Darcy's smarter. Bingley was by no means deficient, but Darcy was clever. He was at the same time haughty, like snooty, snobby, reserved, and fastidious, very look at detail. And his manners, though well-bred, were not inviting. So he knows how to behave, but he's just a little rude and a little arrogant. We saw that in the last chapter. In that respect, his friend had greatly the advantage. Bingley was sure of being liked wherever he appeared. Darcy was continually giving offense. He just has that tone of voice, that attitude that ticks you off when you meet him. The manner in which they spoke of the Meryton assembly was sufficiently characteristic. Bingley had never met with pleasanter people or prettier girls in his life. Everybody had been most kind and attentive to him. There had been no formality, no stiffness. He had soon felt acquainted with all in the room. And as to Miss Bennet, he could not conceive an angel more beautiful. Darcy, on the contrary, had seen a collection of people in whom there was little beauty and no fashion, for none of whom he had felt the smallest interest, and from none received either attention or pleasure. Miss Bennet he acknowledged to be pretty, but she smiled too much. Mrs. Hurst and her sister allowed it to be so, but still they admired her and liked her, and pronounced her to be a sweet girl, and one whom they should not object to know more of. Miss Bennet was therefore established as a sweet girl, and their brother felt authorized by such commendation to think of her as he chose. So he is highly influenced by those around him. And the sisters decide she's okay. She's not really their quality, but she's not bad. Yes, my dad loves Kazu Ushikura. Yeah, Remains of the Day. Absolutely. My dad highly recommends it. It's been on my list to get read. Siddhartha, I just haven't. I just am busy working and reading these books and being a mom and being a grandmother and all those things that you do. And it's hard for me with my ADD to sit and make myself read. That's why this has been really good for me. All right. I have had a long day. That's only a 13-minute read. But guys, I think that's all I've got in me tonight. I just felt so guilty that I hadn't read, that I wanted to come on. But the day is long when you work for the Department of Education. And I'm really, really wanting to make the school systems better so you guys have better educational experiences. I like the results of my survey, and I think it's interesting, or it doesn't surprise me, I guess, that the fear of failure is what really drives most of you who tend to be, by statistically, you all are in your high school, college age. And I will tell you, as a woman much older than you, don't let failure make you be afraid. The best thing that ever happened to me was to really fail at something. Because what I learned was failure's not as scary as it seems, and you can pick yourself up and you can go again. We all make mistakes. We learn so much from our mistakes. And I think we're really scared of rejection, that if we fail, people will judge us and reject us. But it's not so scary to fail. I have failed so much in my life, and I've learned so much about myself because of it. Oh, Booberim, thank you. It is free. I don't make money off of this, but it really motivates me to get the feedback. Like I get emails and I get DMs and Instagram. I found about a man at 45 who is going back. He follows me and he's going back to college to get his degree. He didn't love high school, but he didn't give up. He's never too late to learn. And he's not being afraid of failure. He's out there facing it. I get inspiring messages from readers all the time, and it is well beyond any money that this could pay me to do. I just love the connection. I got to go to a school today, as I said, for work, and I miss being in the classroom. I miss interacting with students. So this lets me do that. And Caleb, yeah, we would love to have you in Discord. And I know there's some Discord messages that I need to jump on. So I will do that this evening, but my phone was out of charge, so it's not by me. And I need to decide, Siddharth, if we should expand some other books. But I have such trouble keeping up with the chat as it is that I'm scared to put too many channels on there. But as we grow, we can expand it. And as people request a different book to talk about, we can do that too. So anybody that's joining us in the future, my friends in the future, hopefully Discord will still be up and running. And Siddharth, did you leave the link that's without time? Because I know I tend to give the one that's 24 hours. And I think the most recent one I posted is a timeless one. So hopefully if you find this in the future, and hopefully Hurricane Delta won't have done any damage, and hopefully I'll get to go to Atlanta this weekend. Siddharth, what do you think? Should we have a meetup? I think it would be really fun. We can have a book discussion. All my friends that I'm meeting there are educators or very educated, like they love to read. And that's one of the things we sit around and talk about. These were college sorority sisters of mine that I'm meeting. So it's seeing no matter how old you get, those friends of yours from high school and college you stay in touch with. I'm going to unlock my account and join the Discord. Yay, Caleb, I'm so glad. Oh, you're smart. Not leaving your house. That's probably wise. I don't want to make people sick either. All right. Well, I don't know if you can tell how tired I am, but I am beat. I need to get a drink of water. And it's only 7:13 here, but I may go to bed very early. So, but I'll hop on Discord and see what the conversation is. So what do I need to tell you guys? If you haven't subscribed already, we're really close to 10,000. So subscribe, or get your friends to subscribe, or get your grandma to subscribe. Honestly, if you have a grandmother or grandfather who are having trouble with reading and they miss reading because their eyes are giving them trouble, direct them to the YouTube channel. And it's like an audiobook for them. It'll give them somebody to keep them company. If not, we'll just stay at 9,600 and something, whatever we are. If you haven't already answered my poll about what are you most afraid of, go and check that out and make a comment. I never understand the thumbs up because that's not a vote. Help me figure that one out. Why do people thumbs up the poll? They like the question? I don't know. I can't figure that out. So ring the bell so you know when I come on live, because people are starting to ask me, when do you release your videos, or when do you do your live reads? And Siddharth will tell you can't pin me down. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I'm not going to edit it. It's going to go live. It's going to be however laggy it is. And my kids bought me for my birthday. It makes me laugh. I don't want to show you that because it's going to fall. They bought me one of those ring lights, but I haven't figured out how to put it together. Like these. So it's got the stand and everything, but you're just going to have to see me with bad shadows. So, very supportive children. Yay. If y'all are listening, supportive children, I love you. Thanks for reading along, and I will read to you next time. See ya, and keep reading.